Welcome back to the world of Stranger Things. Netflix just dropped the official Stranger Things Season 5 teaser, and holy cow did they overdeliver. Last teaser we were saying they didn't spoil anything and maybe we'll just go into this season blind, but nope, they threw that right out the window because this trailer delivers so many huge answers to all of our questions we've been talking about. A full 2 minutes and 30 seconds worth of completely new footage. I cannot believe how much they decided to show us with this trailer. And so now we're going to go through every scene, frame by frame, and unpack every ounce of information we can from this thing. Buckle up and subscribe because this is going to be a long one, and you're not going to want to miss any of the upcoming Stranger Things videos I've got next. So to start us off strong, we see this scene of the entire gang standing by until they start a burn. Mike is talking to everyone over the walkie-talkies and starts counting down. This is most likely in efforts to push back the vines from the Upside Down. Ever since the massive hellgate portal opened up at the end of season 4, the Upside Down has started to seep into Hawkins and literally infect the town. So much so that it looks like the military officially has to step in to try to stop it. But first we see Steve in the new WSQK radio station van, and he's manually turning the radio antenna on top of the van to tune into the proper frequency, and he points it towards the radio tower behind the station. I really like the look of this new van so far. I feel like the van and the radio antenna both are going to play such large roles this season. We've seen in behind the scenes footage and pictures that they'll be attaching a similar antenna to the top of this car that they will be driving into the Upside Down with, and it seems like this will be the gang's solution to communications while some of them are in the Upside Down. We get this beautiful brand new title card showing us vines all over the ground with each of the 4 boys' bikes abandoned here. I don't like what this is inferring, but still, this looks really good. Then we see the van pull away, followed by Mike and Lucas on bikes. We got some BTS of this too, which was really cool, but if we look in the background, we can see someone came out to see them off. And if we zoom and enhance, we can see that this is 11. She's got the shorts over her pants we've been seeing a lot of, and it looks like a bandana around her neck. I like that after Will got sick breathing in the spores while he was in the Upside Down for so long, everyone seems to be wearing some sort of protection for breathing in the air while they're in there. That's probably for the best, honestly. I wouldn't want to be coughing up any slugs when I get home either. And then it cuts to the rest of the gang in the basement of the radio station. We have our first look at Nancy, and we finally get a good look at Robin beside her. And then 11 and Will are chilling over here as well, intently listening to the reports. And then would you look who is on the mic herself? It's Mama Joyce. And it's so nice to see her back. I really can't wait to see everyone together in the same town working towards the same thing this final season. We cut back to Nancy and Robin. Nancy looks very worried for her little brother Mike. I'm sure at this point, especially after the time skip at the beginning of this season, she's really going to have to accept that he will be on the front lines, fighting the Upside Down himself, just like everybody else. He's not this little kid that's her little brother anymore. He's basically an adult now, or at least he looks like it. And from another tease we saw, he's definitely going to be putting himself in harm's way and embracing the leadership role of the gang this season, and you can see how worried she is about him. Will and 11 look terrified for Mike too, both for the same reason ironically. I'm curious to see how their dynamic will play out this season and how much Will's feelings for Mike will be developed. I feel like we have so many other things that we've been building up to, but just the same, this is another piece of the puzzle. Lucas looks sick in this outfit for the mission. It looks like he's in some sort of outpost watching the burn itself about to start and counting down, and then maybe Mike is closer to the radio tower with binoculars watching Lucas count down and reporting back to the station. And then the next shot is what looks to be maybe a military bunker filled with children. All young children. This is so weird that it's all kids around the same age. With the shots we've gotten of Mike protecting the others and Vecna coming after Holly, there's going to be some weird kidnappings going on in Hawkins. I don't know why, but hide your kids because Vecna's coming for them. Even here, all the lights are going haywire. And then finally, we get a close-up shot of Hopper. I don't know why, but they've been holding him the most from us. We've barely seen anything. Maybe a split second of BTS footage and a couple of pictures. It looks like he too is in some sort of bunker, probably helping watch the burn. If you look in his ear, you can see he's wearing an earpiece, which is actually so smart. He can stay in communication without having a walkie-talkie going off loudly, attracting all the Demogorgons nearby. This is so smart. It's in his ear, so only he can hear it, which probably means he's the closest to danger, or the Upside Down at this point. And look at this next shot. Oh my gosh. I mean, just the first frame. Look at Nancy's face. Something big is about to go down. The lights are acting up worse than they were a second ago, and look at Will. Oh my gosh, it looks like he's in a Vecna trance. He's doing that eye twitch thing when he gets taken over by Vecna. But here, in the basement, so early on, that would be nuts. We were speculating that we would see some actual powers from Will, or that he would train them and expand them since he already has some. Since he's still connected to the hive mind, he can still hear and feel what they're doing. It would be really cool if he got to the point where he was able to control some monsters to an extent like Vecna does. We see him in the previous teaser after he maybe uses these upgraded powers. He's slumped down on Joyce here in the background. This is the same thing that happens to Eleven each time she overexerts herself. It's like a battery. Now he needs a recharge. Here's a shot of Will touching his neck tingle. I think they spammed this as much as they could in season 3, and while I'm sure we're going to see more of it, I think we all really want to see something more than just this. So expanding on his powers and making them stronger or a little more useful would make a lot of sense. And real quick, did you know that only 5% of everybody that's watching this video right now is actually subscribed? Come on guys, 5%? What are you doing? That's so low. Go hit that subscribe button really quick and share this with your Stranger Things friends. If you enjoy the videos, I'm going to be making a whole bunch more as we get closer to the release date. And then next, here's a shot of all the military helicopters and transport trucks all mobile, while on the side of the road is Mike, Will, and his little sister Holly, it looks like, on bikes. Yeah, that's definitely Holly. The white basket with the flower on the front of her bike, they're on some kind of mission it seems like, but they're in the middle of nowhere. With absolutely nothing in the near background, it almost seems like they have to be headed towards town. I mean, they could be extremely far away from anything, but I mean 10 to 20 miles on a bike is like an hour and a half, I feel like. At that point, they would probably just drive. But if they are going back to town, so are the helicopters. And then these trucks are leaving in the opposite direction. This next shot is really cool. This shows the epicenter of the massive hellgate portal from the end of season 4, right in the middle of town too. It literally happened at the back of this massive building with the bell tower. This is the Hawkins library. It looks like the military barricaded a perimeter around the block with these massive walls, and then they reinforced the building itself on each side, which is crazy. You know what, let's rewatch the end of that scene just as a refresher. Yeah, look at this. The front of the building just falls off as all the cracks come together. Look at this, even more. And it literally happened right at the back of this building. Or maybe it's the front, and then cut back to now, and it's the exact same spot. It's crazy to see the building is still standing. You can see the red light from the portal coming out the end of the building, and then there's this ramp here that leads up to it, and there's also some Humvees here in the background too. It looks like they put scaffolding on the sides to access the top. I wonder how much they're here to go into the portal versus protect the town from things coming out of it. It's also crazy that they foreshadowed this at the end of season 4 with that nice long shot of the library showing us what it looked like with the vines on the side. It's crazy how different it looks now with the portal and the barricaded walls and everything. And here's a nice close-up, which I'm really surprised they showed us. Here's the entire front of it, the actual portal itself, looking just like the one in season 2 that the Mind Flayer tried to come through. And there's just soldiers absolutely everywhere. When the Demogorgons come, this is going to be a bloodbath. I hope there's so many of them and it's just carnage. I want to see what they showed us last season, but times 10. Times 100. Do it. We know you have the money for it. Then we cut to a somewhat random shot of Dustin visiting Eddie's grave. His tombstone reads, Eddie Munson, now at peace, 1966 to 1986, meaning he was just 20 years old when he died. I'm honestly kind of surprised they couldn't come up with anything more meaningful to put on his tombstone, like died a hero, or rock on forever, or gone too soon, never forgotten, something more than now at peace, because even now it seems like he's not. In blood, or red paint made to look like blood, somebody wrote burn in hell over his grave, most likely the jocks we see bullying Dustin in the behind the scenes footage. And here's the shot of him before he gets all roughed up, while his face is still all beautiful. Unfortunately, that won't last very long. And here's that same shot of Max they've been spamming with the promos. Her and Hopper both, they've given us nothing. But spoilers, make sure you watch until the end of this video because we do see a brand new shot of Max in this promo. And she's not in this bed. Lucas grabs Max's hand and then we see him shed a tear. It's been over a year and she's still in this coma. Yeah, her heart might still be beating and she's technically technically still alive, but it wouldn't be crazy to see him start to lose hope, or just miss her so much here. I think more than anything else, we need to see Max come out of this coma this season so she and Lucas can go on their movie date they were supposed to go on. And then this is interesting. This is the inside of the military compound in the center of town. There's soldiers with flame retardant gear and flamethrowers trying to burn away the portal we just saw. This is happening literally right here. The soldiers are on this ramp and they're trying to fight back with the only way they know how. Fire. It seems like this is possibly what they were referring to in the opening shots of the trailer. They went off to the center of town to watch the burn to see if it was effective at all, or if it angered the hive mind enough to unleash demogorgons on the town. But since Will is still connected to the hive mind, this might explain what was happening to him in the other scene. Do you remember in season 2 when he was infected by the mind flare and Dr. Owens and the scientists over at Hawkins' lab were testing on him? They burned the slug and Will was feeling the pain from that. It was as if they were burning him. This could be why he was twitching earlier, because every time the military tries to burn these vines away, Will can feel it as if he's right there in the middle of the fire. I'm just surprised they didn't lay him down on the couch or something, or have someone look after him. He's just standing there in the middle of the room with no one paying attention to him. Poor Will. I really hope he doesn't get the back seat again this season. It would be such a sad note to end on. The flamethrowers don't seem to be too effective here. You can't really see the red from the portal anymore, but I doubt this will solve their problem. If anything, they'll probably agitate it into releasing some monsters into the town. Here it seems like Hopper and Joyce are in his cabin, on the end of his bed, maybe from this behind the scenes pic. I don't care what happens to them, but I need to see them go on their date at Enzo's once this is all done and over. Joyce is wearing the fit we see her in at the radio station, so this is all probably near the beginning of the show. She's fiddling with his shirt, which is kind of cute, but it means she's nervous for him, for his safety, for everything that's going on. I'm sure Hopper will be much more in harm's way now that he's back from Russia finally. He's going to do everything he can to fight back the Upside Down and be on the front lines trying to beat Vecna, supporting 11. Here we see the gang in the Upside Down staring at Hawkins' lab. This gives us context to the behind the scenes shot we saw of them. We were wondering what they'd be staring down, so it's really nice to see these shots. I wonder what they're going to need to retrieve from Hawkins' lab in the Upside Down that they can't retrieve from the actual Hawkins' lab in the real world. Maybe they need to go back in time essentially to 1983 Hawkins' lab from season 1. Absolutely love to see Nancy with the shotgun once again. I can't wait to see her take on some demogorgons, or better yet, Vecna again this season. I also can't help but feel like Vecna is going to be coming back stronger and wanting revenge for all the things they did to him at the end of season 4. Here's an awesome shot of the OG boys in the woods together. I am so happy they're going back to the season 1 roots and putting everybody back together in the original kids group. They all look extremely worried and unsure here. They're using neighborhood maps here from an address book or something to plan out a mission of some sorts. And here you can see the D&D pieces they like to use to represent monsters they'll be going up against or hoping to avoid. I really like that Dustin is adopting Eddie's style a little more this season with the rings, but I really wish they gave him some of Eddie's actual rings to wear so it feels like he's still fighting with them. Or maybe these are. I feel like season 4's ending was so rushed, wrapping up so many loose ends that we didn't get proper closure to Eddie's passing. We never saw any of the gang besides Dustin reacting to his death. It would be really cool to see if he gets to keep a guitar pick at the very least, just so he has a little bit of him still with him. Now he's fighting Vecna for vengeance. Next we see Mike and 11 together finally. They're in Hopper's cabin here. 11's in a wetsuit sitting on top of a makeshift deprivation tank like a giant bathtub that Hopper built for her. There's a big bag of salt to make the water more dense so she can halfway sink down and feel like she's floating. This helps her concentrate and slip into the mind state to travel easier. Next we get a shot of this very emotional conversation that Jonathan and Nancy are having in the Upside Down. Nancy is crying and Jonathan is trying to be consoling, it seems like. Leading up to this scene, he says that after all we've been through together, this thing, it ties us together forever, which is a little foreboding. I wonder if they're breaking up in this scene, or he's telling her it'll be okay, or if he's comforting her after she just went through something crazy, like her mom or Holly went missing and she's distraught. They look like they're indoors somewhere, maybe back in the Wheeler house in the Upside Down. I just really hope Jonathan doesn't die here. Next, we get a sick shot of 11 suiting up in what looks to be the Upside Down in the Creel attic, where Vecna's last known location was. I mean, it's possible it's somewhere else. If it was, I don't know why she'd wait until now now to cover her mouth. It's cool she still has her bracelet from Hopper that he gave her. This was his last thing from his daughter Sarah, and he basically gave it to his other daughter. Well, I mean, he did adopt her, so legally 11 is Hopper's daughter. Also, this little ring is new. I wonder if it's from Mike. That would be really sweet too. This CG shot of young Will is crazy. No doubt a flashback to when he was taken for the first time into the Upside Down, when all of this started. We've seen him with his younger double in Castle Byers and behind the scenes pictures, and this is most definitely that. It seems like a Demogorgon chased him up a tree at one point, and he has to jump from one tree to another to escape it. I wonder if canonically, this is the same Demogorgon that comes into the real world and tries to get him. That would be crazy. There's actually a comic series that came out 2 years after season 1 that shows us Will's time in the Upside Down, and it was really good. I reference it a lot in other videos, but maybe we'll have to sit down and take another look at it soon. We've also seen behind the scenes of Will falling in what seems to be maybe the same shot. Kind of interesting. And then here we get our first look at a big new character. First up is Alex Barreau, the same actor that's playing Dr. Brenner in the first Shadow stage play on Broadway right now. In the show, he plays a military insurgent, possibly a new nemesis for Hopper or Murray, someone who they're eventually going to have to deal with. But behind him is Linda Hamilton's character, Dr. K. We still don't know much about this new character, but it's really nice to finally get a look at her. It seems like they're either in Hawkins' lab, like it will be a big point of interest this season, or possibly in a military facility by the portal and they're hunting down Hopper and 11 from this other shot. Next up, we get an awesome shot of the father-daughter duo. And here's another close-up showing the reactions to this giant wall. And it seems like they had the same reaction as we did. Ew, gross, and what on earth is that? I think it would be so cool if this is the literal edge of the Upside Down, the furthest point you can go from where Will got taken, and it's like this in every direction. This shot is really weird. Look at this. It's beautiful, but what is it? It seems like Jonathan and Nancy are together in the Upside Down, possibly in or near Hawkins' lab, and they're staring at this anomaly. It's like they're watching this cloud get shocked by this blue electricity, and then it disintegrates. And if you look closely, it seems like we're looking at a giant hole in a building. You can see the edges of it here and over here. The walls look man-made. Something must have happened inside of Hawkins' lab. Either way, whatever this is, it's absolutely terrifying. And then right after, we cut to Steve and Dustin, still in the car, staring at something with binoculars. Possibly this giant electro cloud Nancy and Jonathan are looking at. Here's a good close-up of Dustin's face after he had the run-in with the bullies, but he looks absolutely terrified here. This is really worrying. I'm happy to see that he's getting more quality time with Steve though. Next up is a great shot of some demo dogs, and would you look where they're at? They're in the hospital. Somehow, not only did Demogorgons get loose in Hawkins, but they made it into the hospital, full of sick and wounded people. Easy prey for them. But we're ignoring the biggest thing in this shot. Max is out of bed. Although she's not moving, she's definitely still unconscious, and Lucas and this nurse somehow managed to get her up and out of bed to escape the demo dogs. I really love the direct callback to Jurassic Park with the raptors hunting the kids in the kitchen. This, just the same, is going to be so insanely intense. It would be mental if they chose this moment for Max to wake up. Could you imagine being asleep for over a year? The last thing you remember was your bones breaking, and then you wake up lifeless to Lucas on the kitchen floor as you hide from hunting demo dogs? I would not be okay. I already know my heart is going to be racing during this scene. Here's a quick extension of the shot from the teaser of Hopper trying to save 11, most likely from Vecna's trance. It seems like they're either in Hawkins or the military facility. It's pretty hard to tell the difference between the two, but maybe this is just the new military setup. This is awesome. We finally get a shot of the military fighting the Upside Down monsters. There's 5 of them just laying into something. I'm sure these bullets will be less than effective though. There's 5 or 6 fallen soldiers behind them, ensuring that we will see some carnage. And if you notice, it seems like they're in the town, in front of a shop that got boarded up after the portal ripped the street open. It almost looks like these are parking spots on the ground here. There was a lot of buildings in the near vicinity to the portal, so while they could be still in the enclosure we saw earlier, we also saw demo dogs in the hospital, confirming they're running around town, and the military could be dispersing, fighting all the Upside Down monsters that got loose. We haven't seen any yet, but I'm really curious if we'll see demo bats return. I know that was a very season 4 Creel House centered thing, but it would be cool to see all the new monsters they introduced in each season after. Okay, so this is very concerning. Hopper and 11 are down, receiving a lot of incoming fire through this structure, and it seems like 11's been hit, and Hopper is protecting her. I mean, you can see 11's hand still holding Hopper, so she's not dead, but she could be really hurt. I feel like once they made their way through the facility and into the portal, some military start chasing them down, trying to shoot them for some reason. I guess this means they won't be working together this season, but interestingly enough, I recognize this. We've seen this before. Just keep watching and I'll explain in 1 minute. Next, we see Steve in the car with Dustin, Nancy, and Jonathan as he absolutely floors it. Driving through the portal under the McCorkle's farm, if you don't remember, we've been here before in season 2. This is the farm Hopper went and checked out when all the pumpkins were dying. He then went to the neighboring farm, the Merrills, and that's how he dug down and got lost in the tunnel system. And we've seen previs, behind the scenes footage of them going through this portal, and now to see the final shots, they did such a great job. These look so good. It's crazy how even in this trailer, it truly feels like everyone's already working on something and they're all going a million miles an hour. Here's the shot we saw from the teaser with Joyce, Will, Robin, Derek, and I'm pretty sure Erica is behind her. Last time we saw the door banging, which looked very menacing, but now we get a full-blown Demogorgon bursting through. I have no idea if Joyce, with just that axe, will be able to take care of this monster. I am very worried all of a sudden with this group. I know she can go crazy and be a very aggressive mama, but still. We can also see the radio station van in the background and a couple of other houses, as if they're not in the middle of nowhere but still kinda close to town. I feel like the farther all the groups split up, the more in danger I feel like they'll become. Plus, I'm really hoping they don't get split up for too long. I hope everyone has a lot of time interacting with all the other main characters. Next, we see this shot of Will rolling his eyes back into his head and falling to the ground. This is in the basement of the radio station, most likely right after we saw his eyes twitching at the beginning of the trailer. I really hope he does something this season where he's not so vulnerable. I want to see the others care about him a little more and him be a little bit useful. This is terrifying though. It seems like Vecna himself will be coming directly for Will. We can see all the lights in the background are still going haywire, but this is definitely after they start the burn. Here we get a shot of Nancy cocking the shotgun and aiming it upwards. I wonder if this is right before the giant electro cloud we saw earlier. This shot is just so weird because of what we see in the background. It's most likely they're still in the upside down here, probably in Hawkins' lab, but what on earth is all of this white slimy stuff running down the walls and all over the floors? That is so nasty looking. There's no way it's just paint, right? It looks like the walls just melted away, which is crazy. It looks so different from normal Stranger Things. And then next we get our first Murray update. We see a Demogorgon chasing a Bradley's Big Buy box truck. Say that 5 times fast. And from the looks of it, it seems like a Demogorgon already got its hands on the truck and now another is literally chasing them down. I wonder how Murray, working here, will be used in the plot besides him stealing this box truck, maybe to transport large equipment they need to fight Vecna. But you know what's even crazier about this shot? This looks like a unique Demogorgon. A specific one that we haven't seen in 6 years now. Back when season 3 came out, at the end, there was a post-credit scene that showed us the Russians captured a Demogorgon while they were in Hawkins and brought it back with them to Russia. It looked very distinctly different from all the other Demogorgons we've seen in the show. And even the other Demogorgons we saw in Russia looked a little different. This one looks more white. I'd be really surprised if the Russians will still play a role this season. I feel like they concluded the Russians' arc as much as they were going to in season 4. We still have so many questions though I would love to see answers to, but I would just be shocked if this is the exact same one. Maybe under certain circumstances they will lose their color and turn white. And this one was being tested on by the military, and just like the Russian one, it lost its color too. Either way, it's really cool to see another rare white one. Now, this is scary. It seems like this is Mike's mom and sister, Karen and Holly Wheeler, in possibly their bathtub hiding from something. In the first frame, if you look at the top of the scene, you can see something here hovering above them. And we saw this scene in the last teaser, a shot of them terrified holding on to each other, and with all the shots of Demogorgons running through town, it's safe to say that some demo dogs have found them and they're trying to hide underwater from them to hide their scent. I really hope it works, but part of me feels like it won't. And then this next shot is Robin in a new outfit, specifically in the shirt they kept blurring out in all the behind the scenes pictures and videos. But what is so special about this shirt? This specific picture is of Tom Waits, a big singer in the 80s. While this may just be a head nod to the notorious Tom Waits t-shirt that Winona Ryder has had since she was a teenager, I wonder if his music will play an integral part in this final season, with songs like Hell Broke Loose, or Underground, or Time, or I Don't Want to Grow Up, or Earth Died Screaming. There's so many cool songs that we could hear behind some of the crazier moments in this show. I just don't know if it was worth blurring out all of her shirts in the behind the scenes pictures, but maybe it'll play a bigger role than we think. Next, we see what Robin might possibly be looking up at, and this is the radio station tower being engulfed in mind flare particles. These are the same particles that go inside of Will in Season 2, as well as the same particles that the Russians captured under the Starcourt Mall and took back to Russia to study. It's so cool to already get a tease of the mind flare returning, because since Season 4, almost the entirety of the show has been taken over by Vecna being the antagonist, whereas in all of Seasons 1 through 3, it was solely the mind flare. So it's really cool to see that we haven't forgot about him entirely. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how the mind flare and Vecna's relationship, their understanding, both trying to capture 11, will be expanded on in this final season. I just wonder what they want with the radio tower. Are they going to be able to physically destroy it with just these particles? Or take it over? Or maybe intercept the signal to listen in on the kids' plan? No idea. This shot of Nancy wiping blood off her hands and crying is terrifying. I really hope that Jonathan doesn't die in this season. It's going to be really interesting to see who they kill off, since this is the final season and they have no more consequences. This could be in the radio tower bathroom, or possibly in the hospital, where she'll be helping out a lot of this season, and especially after the demo dog outbreak, there's going to be a lot of casualties this season. And what's crazy is while these scenes are playing, in the back, Hopper says that wherever this blood leads, I need you to fight one last time. So ominous. He's definitely hyping up a finale battle. Maybe they need to follow the blood trail Vecna left behind when Nancy shot him out of the Creel attic in Season 4. It did seem like 11 was in the attic earlier and Hopper was with her inside the Upside Down. That would be crazy if they try to track Vecna down like that. It's also been so long, I feel like his blood wouldn't be there, but it is the Upside Down. What if they found the trail and followed it all the way to the edge of the Upside Down? That would be crazy. Like he physically can go beyond this realm that Will created. And while he's saying this, we cut to a close-up shot on Will's eyes. He's all sweaty and out of it, almost like he's about to pass out, or he's drifting in and out of consciousness. I wonder if Vecna's got him in a trance, or if he's woozy from using his upgraded powers and he's not doing so hot. But this next shot is really concerning. Steve hugging Dustin in the Upside Down, it looks like. This looks close to Hawkins' lab, maybe inside of it. And last we saw, Nancy and Jonathan were both staring down this giant electro-death portal cloud. I don't know what happened that has Dustin crying like this. I mean, he's such a sweet person that if he had to deal with death again up close and personal, no matter who it was in the group, I could see him crying like this. I'm worried we're gonna need so many more tissues than normal to watch this season. Here's an extension of the behind the scenes pic we got a while ago. Hopper and 11 suiting up ready for battle. It looks like they're in the military facility about to go into the Upside Down through the massive portal. Either that or the military is onto them and they'll have to push their way through them first. I can't wait to see 11 finally back with her powers. This is going to be so awesome. Then we get a shot of Hopper in the same jacket but with this new hat on instead of his beanie, and holding 11 while she's in some kind of contraption, and he says,
"Let's end this, kid."
As if everything has come back to this moment. 11 and her new papa. It's about to end. He's been hyping her up to find and kill Vecna. I cannot wait. It seems like she's in some specialty apparatus for a deprivation tank. Because next, it cuts to her in the tub in Hopper's cabin from earlier where she's wearing the bodysuit. As if these scenes are stitched together to show she's about to go into the void and find Vecna. And now, next, this is what I was waiting to show you. Remember that shot of 11 wounded and Hopper protecting her with his body while they're being shot at? So this is right after or before that. Don't worry, 11's not dead. You can see her move her feet here. But Hopper takes 2 grenades and just tosses them straight up into the air over his shoulders. And that's when I recognized this. This was the only shot they showed us of Hopper for the longest time. On a monitor, just a split second in the behind the scenes video. And this is where he was. He lets the pins go on the grenades and tosses them over this wooden wall, which from the next shot we can see is a fallen billboard inside the Upside Down. The grenades explode and send what look to be 2 military soldiers flying, ending their problem. And if you look really closely for only 3 frames, you can see Turnbow is visible on the billboard. This is the real estate family of Hawkins that is Derek's family. The Turnbow Trap is the name of the 3rd episode, so we will definitely be seeing a lot of this family in Season 5, but seeing it here in the Upside Down means that they've been here since Season 1. It's also possible that this shot in the BTS video was of the guards getting blown up and then they just replaced everything with CG for proper lighting. It looks like possibly possibly this is the corner of the billboard falling into the ground on the edge here. After this, we see a terrifying shot of current day Will being trapped and held in some sort of thorny upside down vine bush. This looks so scary. I would not want to be him right now, or ever for that matter. But it's really cool to see how much terror Noah Schnapp can fill Will's eyes with. This and the final shot of the first teaser. Both insane. I feel like he really leveled up since season 4. And here's Holly in the kitchen about to get got by Vecna most likely. So weird he's coming for all the kids in this season. I guess that's one way to make him a hated villain. But why kids? It looks like she's in the kitchen here in her house. She was actually in her kitchen in the BTS shot they showed us of her, but in this moment she's not wearing this cool cloak she has on here. Jeez, this is a shot of Lucas with blood all over his t-shirt on the ground. Some kind of earthy rock texture staring down something that can definitely kill him. It's crazy how many main characters are directly in harm's way this season. I really wonder who they're going to kill off. You know what? You guys loved the last survey we did so much. I'm going to make a new one real quick, just a short one. Go vote on who you think will die in season 5. And you can vote on more than one person. You can say 11 and Will, or you can say Vecna or Steve. Place your votes now. I'm curious. This is going to be interesting. Here he's wearing the same jacket and possibly same button-up underneath as he was in this shot running down the halls of Hawkins with Mike. He has a backpack on too, as if he was just at school maybe. Part of me wondered if this is even real. I think it is, based on another scene we're about to see, but aside from that, I wonder if he'll be dealing with trauma this season from seeing Max almost die in his arms. That acting Caleb McLaughlin did when Max was getting crushed was so real. I didn't even think about how that moment might have affected him. I wouldn't be surprised if he has nightmares this season of not being able to save Max. And then here's our first look at Murray, and he's with Robin. This is so exciting. We got a BTS promo pic of them together a long time ago. It looks like they'll actually be spending a decent amount of time together this season. It looks like they're out at the radio station listening to the gang over the walkie-talkies, maybe waiting to move out or help with something. Murray looks great in the hat and the jacket, and I love that he's not hesitating to use his work trucks to save the world. Whoa, check this out. Steve and the gang are driving through people's front yards, crashing through fences in this scene. It doesn't look like they're out at the McCorkles farm anymore, but in the middle of town. I wonder if this is after they come back from the portal. It feels like them crashing through these fences means they're in immediate danger and they just came back from the upside down and something's chasing them. I absolutely love the antenna bolted to the top of the car too. This is so DIY, I love it. We get a couple frames of a random shot of the military running and jumping through the woods, most likely chasing down Hop and Elle or something. Now, this shot is interesting. Nancy and Elle bursting into a house. Nancy raising up the shotgun and Elle coming around absolutely shocked at what she's looking at. They both look like they're in the same outfits they were in at the start of the trailer when they were monitoring the burn. 11 grabbed a jacket with a hood and threw it up, most likely to conceal her identity, as if they had to rush off at a moment's notice. I love this look, but I wonder if they're checking in on a distress call they picked up. Nancy with the shotgun and 11 with her powers, that's a pretty effective response team. Maybe they're monitoring Hawkins in some way to try to help people who have encounters with monsters. It's kinda cool to see this duo together. I hope the incident isn't Mike related though. Here's a quick shot of someone adjusting a dial on the radio station, and then next is what looks to be Will's eyeball. The reflection looks like the basement of the radio station, and with the harsh push inwards, it feels like this is Vecna going into Will's mind. They've done similar close-ups when stuff like this happens, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was something similar. Plus, this would kind of explain his eye twitching in the first scene. I feel so bad for Will already. It kind of looks like this shot goes straight into a tunnel shot. It looks like we went into Will's eye and now we're following the kids through some more tunnels. Although these look brighter and not as wet as the upside down tunnels are. These look kind of man-made and like it's in the real world. And the person in the back is Lucas, and this means this is probably the location the other shot of him was in. This texture we didn't know what it was dirt. It's these earthy walls. Whatever's chasing them catches up to him. As for the other two, it's really hard to tell who they are. They both look smaller than Lucas, like they're children Vecna is after. One is wearing a dress, which I don't think we've seen yet, and the other is in a green jacket. So it could be this kid Mike is protecting, but it's a wild guess. Erica looks really cool here with the poodle shirt. I love this look on her. She's taking the protective cap off a needle, and this looks to be the Turnbow house, which seems to be where they go to get the kid Derek we see at the farm later. If this is a sedative, I wonder if it's for Derek or for his parents. And next is a crazy shot of 11 flying. I mean, we were just joking about this, but it actually looks like she'll be flying in Season 5. And I'm sure they tried to pull this off as grounded as possible. It looks like she's using her powers to push away from the ground, creating this shockwave we can see. And I mean, we did see her levitate back in Season 2 when she closed the giant portal, but that was closer to hovering. This is active propulsion. Girl is literally going to be flying at Vecna this season. Crazy. It's cool that she's out here practicing in the junkyard from Season 1. We saw BTS pics of her out here with her parents, Hopper and Joyce, and I wonder if they'll be out here helping her learn a bunch of new powers. That would kind of be really cool. And then we see a sick new shot of the start of the Demogorgon invasion of Hawkins. This one absolutely erupts from the ground with soldiers all around him. It would be so crazy if like 10 of these popped out everywhere all at once and just obliterated the soldiers. We also saw the preliminary shots right before this in the first teaser, so it's nice to see that literal Demogorgons is what all the knocking and banging around town was. Same with the barn being smashed in. This next one is a really cool shot. It looks like Joyce is standing over Will or one of the kids they're protecting in this shot, but I mean, just look at the carnage behind them. 7 dead soldiers. The lights are all flickering, and in the next shot we see Mike and all the little kids' heads around him he's protecting. And would you look at that, where they're outside of Melvald's general store. This is Joyce's old job. Yeah, the Season 1 job she had, but also the same job she had when she was a teenager, attending Hawkins High School. Back in the day, of course, it was Melvald's diner, and she was a waitress there, but it's crazy to see it's still here this far in the future. I wonder if it will survive the final season. This looks very similar to where all the guards were shooting from earlier in the teaser, and then the big reveal of what they're all looking at is Vecna himself. But real quick, let's just take a second to appreciate this wonderful silhouette that he's making. Does anyone recognize this? Honestly, it kind of gives me the vibes closer to the original outline of the Demogorgon that came and got Will back in Season 1. It's much less like a human and much more bumpy and rigid. It looks like since he's recovered from being set on fire and blasted out of his attic window, he has a much larger hand now. And in the only picture we've seen of him so far, they've occluded one of his eyes, really playing into the D&D lore behind his character. But this is what I'm talking about. His shoulders and elbow joints are much bigger, and he looks a lot less human in this form. More like a monster, and I really like it. I feel like it'll be more scary. And the lighting for this scene is gorgeous too. What a reveal. And then right after this shot, he says, "Found you." This sent chills down my spine. Now I know how Will feels. This is so eerie, but this has to be 11, I feel like. That's what his entire goal was. Either that, or maybe it's Will, now that he's after him too. Both options are terrifying. We are not okay here. And then next we get our first peek at new Season 5 Vecna. Well, just his backside, but still, this looks so much more intense than last season. This looks crazy. Nothing like the Grinch lookalike from Season 4. I don't know what you're talking about. And this fire here is nuts. It almost looks like Vecna is repelling the fire, or maybe he's controlling it. Originally, I was thinking some flamethrower soldiers tried to take him on and he's pushing the fire away from him with his powers somehow, but I don't think he has fire powers. It's his weakness. That would be weird. I really love how all these vines and tendrils on his back are pointing towards the fire, the point of interest where he's using his powers. Not only is this so much more scary and intimidating, but them flexing just feels like such a nice attention to detail. It looks like they're reaching out too, so he's using more power. Now, believe it or not, this scene is taking place right on top of where we saw the last shot. Yup, right where Joyce, Mike, and Will are now. If you pause at just the right moment, you can actually see in all caps John's on the left side of the fire and Melvald's on the right side of the fire. This is the front of Melvald's here in this shot. And just for a wider angle, this is what the street looks like. Here's John's, which is a hairdresser spot, and here's Radio Shack, and then Melvald's. And they're literally right across the street from the library. If we wanted to, we could go back and see in the opening aerial shot of the trailer, this is the portal right here, which is probably where Vecna comes out of, and then you walk right down this ramp here, and across the street is Melvald's, in case Vecna needs to go shopping or something. And then this one over here is probably John's, just in case he needs a new hairdo. They're probably standing right around here in the street, and with the aftermath of Will slumped over in Joyce's arms, I really wonder who's going to oppose Vecna here. Could this be where him and Will face off for the first time with Will's new powers? It doesn't seem like 11's anywhere around. I think this would be such an awesome place to showcase Will's powers for the first time. And of course, this is where they end the trailer. And boy, was that a lot of new information. I should have put a spoiler warning on this video. Go vote on the survey in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.